Today on the workbench we're looking at a Teletec DXP L180. This is a VHF 6-meter amplifier. It's rated at 180 watts. I bought this amplifier last year and hadn't tested it out until about 2-3 days ago when I pulled it out to put it in line. And I thought, before I put it in line, since I got it on the workbench, let's go ahead and test it out. So we're going to do that. For the meter, I have this Diamond SX1000. It just makes it easier than dealing with the Bird, since it has 0 through 200 watt range, very easy without swapping slugs. I have it connected to a 1500 watt military grade, wet, oil filled military grade, which I think just said, dummy load, which is under the bench. For radio, we're going to use my Yaesu FTD 100 Delta radio, and with that I'll be able to change the power level manually, since it goes from 0 to 150 watts on its own accord. So I'll be able to monitor where I need to put it. We're also going to watch the amp meter on the power supply, which is underneath the desk. So you'll see that in one of the picture-in-picture videos, along with the shaky cam that you're seeing as well. Alright, so we want to make sure the amplifier is turned off. We're going to go over here to the meter, and we want to adjust our power level. We don't want to shove too much into it. It has a 15 watt input, although I've actually shoved upwards of 40 into it. It's not good. So the radio setting, I'm at power level 15, which should give us 15 watts. We're on that second scale, right where it says 15. Okay, and now we need to flick this up to 200. We're just going to start off at the top, and then we'll work down a little bit. So now we have the amplifier turned on. With the amplifier turned on, you'll notice that there is no idiot lights on. We do have one single LED, and that LED is for high VSWRs. This amplifier also has a built-in preamplifier, but that's activated when you turn this transmit. When you turn the amplifier itself on, it turns transmit and the receive on at the same time. Now, you can disable that by injecting 12 volts through a port that's in the back, and that will disable the preamp. It's kind of a goofy design, but it works. You also notice how nice and thick these fins are, so it could handle some heat for a while. I've used this a couple of times. Once just playing with it to see where it's at, and then actually in QSO. And I did my first QSOing with the amplifier, and it did just ducky. Alright, so with all that said and done, back at the amplifier, the meter, we are now at this middle scale here where it says 200. So we're going to look at where 15 watts into the dummy load gives us. And I know the camera's not seeing it head on, but that's 160 watts. Now that was with FM. Now if we go over here, and actually we're in digital mode, we can switch this over FM should also give us the same. So first test was in digital mode because I was monitoring FT8. I don't do FT8, but I was monitoring it. And there we see about 160 amps. I got a buggy microphone switch, so that's why it keeps dropping out. The amplifier, the power supply amp meter, I cannot see it because it's up underneath my desk. And so I think it's drawn about 24 amps. So you can see that in the meter, in the picture-in-picture on your screen. Let's go ahead and switch this now to upper sideband. And we need to turn that off, and let's take a sample reading of where we are with that. So we're set at 15. Audio. Audio. Now I do have it in the middle scale, which is 20 watts. So we're second scale up from the bottom. Audio. Audio. So that's about 7 watts on sideband. So just for GPS, let's go ahead and turn the amp on. Not GPS, but just for the heck of it. So this is 7 watts input. Audio, audio, audio. That's about 140 watts. Now, when I keyed up, you heard the amplifier do this. And talking into the handheld microphone. What that is this radio requires to have a sensing wire connected to it from the radio. Basically, it lets it know that there's RF happening on sideband and not to allow the relay to do that. But I don't have that connection at the moment, so we just deal with the clicking on sideband. No big deal. So let's go ahead and turn this off and go back up to the radio, and we'll set this up to a 25. Now we'll take a reading on the power meter. Hello, 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 hello. That's about 14. Let me adjust it up to 30. Hello, hello, audio. Audio, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, audio. I could probably turn it up some more, but let's go ahead and let's see, what was we getting? Audio, about 18 watts. So let's go ahead and turn that on. Let's adjust our meter to the high setting. Audio, 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 audio. Audio, audio, audio. So about 155, 160 watts. So not bad. Let's go ahead and we'll change the radio to AM. And let's turn the amplifier off. Let's take a reading, and as you saw, we're at an 18, and that's given us about 25 watts audio. So let's turn that down to about a 14. Audio, 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 audio. So 5 watts dead key swinging to 15. Let's turn it up to about 20. That's definitely above. Oh yeah, that's 60 watts. So we don't want to shove 60 watts into the amplifier. Let's see what 18 does for us. That's about 22. I'll turn it down to 16. Okay, 10 watts. Let's go to 17. Okay, there we go. It's about 15.5 watts. Audio, audio, audio. Audio, audio. Swinging about 30 watts. Let's go ahead and turn this on. And that's 130 watts. Now the reason why audio you saw it swing backwards there on AM is there's just not enough headroom for the signal to swing forward, either too much compression or something like that. And you probably also saw that on the amp meter if my camera didn't die, which I think it did. I got a time limit on that camera. Let me reset it. Okay, so I ran out of memory card on the amp meter, so I think we got the basic principle of what it does on high power, so I think we could use our imagination for low power. Let's do a couple of quick tests real quick. Let's go ahead and turn this all the way down. We're still on AM, so 0 watts, or 0 setting. You know, I wish the numbers correlated to the actual watts. I don't like the 0 to 100 thing. Alright, so on AM, that's about 900 milliwatts. I almost said kilowatts. So what does 900 kilowatts gives us? About 40 watts. So that, I'm sorry, 30 watts. That's not bad. Not bad at all. Let's go ahead and go to FM. You can see that FM. And we'll turn that down to 0. That's about not quite 2.5 watts, but not quite 2 1/4. So, with that said, let's turn the amplifier on. Let's see what that gives us. That's about 80 watts. All right, and so now we're going up to sideband. So let's see what sideband gives us. It's set to 0. Audio, 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 audio. It's about 1 1/4 watts. Let's go ahead and turn the amp on. We're third line up. Audio, audio, audio. 50 watts. So that is not bad. So, as I was saying, the radio is capable of doing high power on its own accord. So we're still on upper sideband. This is, like I said, a Yaesu FT100 Delta. And audio, 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 audio. Let's just add 120 watts. 120 watts. So let's go to AM. Oh, let me turn that up. It's about 110 watts. Audio. Audio. And then FM, and we're at 100. You'll notice that when I switched over to FM or over to sideband, they replicate one and the same. They do, which is kind of annoying. I wouldn't mind having them separated because it does remember each one except for FM and sideband. It shares. So here's what FM does. Ready? About 110, 115 watts. So it's not bad at all. Even though the radio is high power and it could do a good, bit of power like that, let the amplifier do all the work. So now if I was to go up to the call frequency, let's see, there's call frequency. Yeah, about the same. So let's actually turn our power down on this. So that's 15 watts, amplifier on, 150 watts. So as you see, higher up in frequency, the amplifier does better. Now, I have not calibrated or tuned this amplifier, and this is just as it was when I got it. So I'm sure if I was to do such a thing, I could get it to operate better on the frequency of desire. I'm okay at the moment. So with that said, let's go ahead and let's open it up and take a look at our guts. All right, I thought that before we open it up, give you a peek at the rear. As you can see, we've got our mains input, or 12-volt input, and here we've got our radio SO239 and our antenna SO239. See, it's pretty nice and stout. Also right here we have the port that I was telling you about for the preamp, and then we have for the key. So the preamp is where you'd inject the 12 volts to turn off the receive amplifier, and in my short times of using it, I really didn't notice any difference on the signal. And then this key jack is the sensing jack. So this is where you'd port in from the radio, and it would let it know that on sideband that you've got a signal happening. Okay, and here is the bottom of the amplifier. Sticker just basically tells you about the different model numbers of amplifiers available: 6 meter, 2 meter, 220, and 440. And then serial number and sticker stuff. Let me pull all these screws, and then we will. Good. Don't have a screw underneath there. Then we will take a peek at it and see what happens. All right, got her open in all her glory. There she is. Do a quick pan of it. As you see, she's built very well. Nice and fat and happy. Some interesting things about this. Didn't know until I just opened it up and gave it a quick once over. Some interesting tidbits. And that is, if we look here on the board, I believe that reads what? Revision A. And then if we come over here, we see Rev C. So apparently the board is Rev A, the chassis is Rev C. I'm not sure how that works. We have another sticker here. It says 249. And then some other numbers that you can't see because it's washed out in the glare. It's a 2-pill system. We have one right here that is blacked out. And then we have the other one right there, which is a Motorola MRF 492 with date code of 9733. And that's something I forgot to tell you. This is from about 98. So there we go. I did get some paperwork with this, and we'll thumb through that at the end of the video. Quick question for those that are in the RF industry. Can you identify these capacitors? What are these capacitors called? I see these type of caps in these amplifiers, and I have not a clue what they are. So if I ever needed to replace them, I could reach out and get them. If there's also any other information you could tell me about them or whatever, I could research. If not, I'm sure that they're going to be for a specific bandwidth, ensure that they're rated for this frequency. We do have a couple of electrolytics, which don't appear that they've been changed. And maybe one day when I'm filling up to it, I might just do that. I don't know. And the other interesting thing that I did notate was this right there. I'm not sure what's up with that. It looks like it says R right there, but there's some more text underneath the solder pad. I don't know what that's about, but we see that the input, red and negative, don't look like they've been mucked around with. So I'm not sure exactly what that is. Tried looking on the schematic, but I couldn't quite identify that. So if you are familiar with these amplifiers and you know what that is, please chime in and let me know. We have a couple of ICs on board. I would tell you what they are, but I don't know what they are. And it's probably not getting in focus. I think the schematic said one of them's for sideband something or another. And then we've got 2 relays. Pretty snazzy. As stated, I did get some paperwork with it. There's really not a lot of paperwork available on the internet. So I'm quite happy with what I got. So it's one of these pamphlet kind of things. If you need to know more information, you could pause your video and check that out. Now this paperwork is also marked Rev C, so you would think that it was for this amplifier, right? I don't know. What's kind of interesting though is on it, on the back side, is the full schematic. Now you can get the schematic online. Try to find a spot where it don't fall down. It's kind of interesting is if you look here, it actually mentions two LEDs, which, as you saw, I only have the one. Talk about a yellow, green, and I only have a red. And so power on, and not sure what that one's for. Kind of interesting. So since we're in that area, you could see this is our positive, this is our negative. Nope, that's our antenna, sorry. I was looking through the camera. So our positive, all right. So our positive comes in, goes straight to the switch through a fuse. So I'm really not sure. Okay, there's our negative. So that goes through the cap. Really not sure what that is. But we saw the amplifier does work. Okay, so as stated, I did get some paperwork. And as we saw, we got the schematic. What's not available online is the theory of operation warranty, and the installation information. Like I said, I'm pretty lucky that I got paperwork with my amplifier, because there really ain't much out there. And then I got, let me adjust my lighting here, maybe we can see better. And then we got a power output frequency, a power amplifier, a truth table is what I'm trying to say, doggone it. And as you can see, power in with our projected power out for this amplifier, along with the other amplifiers. Pause your video if you need to look at that. And then you could take your video to your flatbed scanner, scan it, and then make yourself an image. And there you go. And more lovely paperwork. And again, backside of that paper was operation. Tells you all the neat and groovy things about it. And this paperwork here talks about the commercial amplifiers that they made. As stated, not much information is out there. I did find an old forum, and they were discussing these amplifiers in general, this brand. And by consensus, they were very happy with them, and they recommend that if you do indeed come across them your own self, you should buy them. All right, so our amplifier, 15 watts in, 180 out, 28 amps, sold for $640 brand new, with $1,750 shipping, and then at the time some options for it that you could read yourself, and then features. Footing. Operations. And then our last paper is a product review. Now, I have not read this my own self. I'm not sure where this is sourced out of, but it's from page 7. And the reason why the shutter is going dark on white paper is because that's too much light information that's going into the shutter, and it's doing its job and closing down and protecting itself. And speaking of closing down and protecting itself, that's exactly what I'm going to do. This will conclude the video on this Teletec DXP L180 6 meter 180 watt amplifier. If you found this video helpful in any way, or you just simply enjoyed the video and you want to see more like this, because I've got 2+ boxes full of amplifiers, we will check out one day. I will definitely get that going, and that's also not to mention the other 3 amplifiers that I do have in line right there: 220, 440, and then 2 meter. So again, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up and make sure you do subscribe. I very rarely ask you to do that, but feel lucky today. I'm asking. Catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.